On this week's episode of the Pit Crew podcast, we predict the Spanish GP. Hello and welcome to the Pit Crew podcast. My name's Ed. This is my co-host Dylan.
Hello.
And this weekend is the Spanish Grand Prix. Now, Spain is usually a track that holds a boring race due to the style of the track, the corners, the fast, the slow, and the quantity of how many of those types of corners there are. But we've still got to predict, and probably, as usual, we're not going to predict it very well, but we're still going to have a crack at who we think is going to come where in this weekend's Grand Prix. Now, this is being recorded Friday evening, so we have seen practice. I have tried not to let this influence my quali and race predictions. Dylan, in pre-recording, said too late, so you can all accuse Dylan of Dylan's a cheat. Okay, you can all accuse Dylan of being a cheat. Anyway, we need to predict. Sorry, Dylan. We need to predict the team performance order. I think we all know Mercedes on top, Red Bull close behind. Top three, the third person being a fight between Racing Point. Maybe they didn't look very strong at Silverstone though. McLaren, Ferrari, and then the rest of the field as usual. Although Haas, having looked at practice, Haas looked stronger. Grosjean got P5 in practice, which means that the car's very fast. Because Grosjean's quite a bad driver. He's a good driver. Don't get me wrong. I couldn't do what he does, but I just don't think he's cut out for F1. Dylan, I presume you agree with me there?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Yeah. Nothing much to say on that subject, but yeah, interesting that Grosjean got there got in that P5 in I think it was second practice. Kevin Magnussen didn't do very well.
Yeah, second practice.
Yeah, in second practice, sorry.
Kevin 16th.
16th. So Grosjean maybe a star performance. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, we need to predict the qualifying top five. I'm going Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Albon, and Leclerc. Hamilton, he's just good all round. Although I don't like to say it, he is. So I think he's going to get the pole position on Saturday. Verstappen is very good around Barcelona. We saw this in 2016. I mean, I know he won partly due to the Mercedes taking each other out in about, I think, at turn 3, turn 4, but he has good form around this track. I think Bottas, close third to Verstappen. Bottas, as I've said, he's a qualifying machine, although his race pace is improving. I'm hoping, it's probably not going to be right, that Albon gets P4. His qualifying performances have been really not up to scratch compared to his race performances. I think he's just that sort of driver, though. I mean, the Red Bull has pace, and as long as he gets the positions in the race where the points are paying, then I can't really fault him. But I'm hoping P4 and Leclerc P5. It's a bit of a wild shout. The Ferrari performance hasn't been great, but Leclerc's quite good at bringing the best out of that car. So hoping Leclerc in P5. Dylan, what do you think?
I'm going to predict Lewis number 1, followed by Bottas and Verstappen, Leclerc number 4, and Ricciardo number 5.
That's interesting. You think Ricciardo? Why do you think of Ricciardo will come P5?
He seems strong.
The Renault is strong, yeah.
He seemed strong last race in Silverstone, and in practice he's done all right.
McLaren have said they're going to be fighting. They think they're going to be fighting for third place with the Renaults, but Renault didn't do so great last for third place in the constructors this year. Yes, for third, because Ferrari they may do it, but anyway, Renault didn't have the best race last weekend. Ricciardo spun. Don't really know why. Maybe his tyre temperatures just weren't in the right zone, but he did spin last weekend. Now, the points paying section of the race Sunday, the race. Who do we think will come on the podium? I think Hamilton, Verstappen, Leclerc. Hamilton, he's just good around here. I mean, if Verstappen gets a better start than Hamilton, then he could possibly pip Hamilton to the win. But I think Hamilton will get the win. Verstappen second, maybe a close second. And I think Leclerc might get P3. You know, we saw that in the first British Grand Prix, the first Grand Prix at Silverstone, I should say. In in the British Grand Prix 3 weekends ago, really. He did well. He got P3 in that car. I would hope Albon could get P3 if he qualifies the P4 that I predicted, but I think Leclerc is more likely to get the P3. Dylan, what do you think for the podium?
I think Hamilton, Verstappen, and Bottas. So I've just changed third place from you.
I don't know. So you think Bottas will get on the podium? I can see that happening. But I don't
think Leclerc's
we're not very good at predicting, so I've just gone for some weird ones. So you'll probably get a win on that again. You've gone for a bit of a safer bet, but I haven't. What do you think? Bit of a formality. We probably won't do this anymore. Fastest lap. I'm just going to go with Hamilton. Verstappen's quite good at getting fastest lap, but I'm going to say Hamilton gets fastest lap. Presume you agree, Dylan?
Yes, I agree.
Biggest disappointment of the race. Now, I can't keep saying, and I know I can't keep saying each race that Williams getting the no points. I think Haas could be a disappointment seeing Grosjean's pace in practice. That could be due to other cars doing long run pace practice and not going full for it. I think Albon may come close to a podium, but I'm going to say the Haas drivers not bringing the best out of what they have this weekend because they look good. I think that's going to be the biggest disappointment of the weekend. Dylan, what do you think is going to be the biggest disappointment this weekend?
I think the McLarens, because I don't think they were on pace last week, and they don't look that great this weekend either. I mean, they did okay in practice, but they could do better, considering they did well in Austria.
Okay, what do you think is going to be the biggest surprise of this weekend? I mean, the Spanish GP, as we said, is quite boring. I don't think it will be very surprising, but Leclerc getting a podium, if my predictions are correct, could be quite surprising. Williams getting in the points, Haas doing quite well. I don't know. I'm probably going to go with biggest surprise of the weekend. If they do it properly, it's kind of a complete contradiction to what I've just said. Haas getting in the points for my biggest surprise. Dylan, what do you think? Hopefully you're not as contradictory as I.
I'm going to think Williams will maybe get a point.
I'd love to see that. Everyone knows I'd like to see that.
Yes.
Just while we're there, I'm going to throw in a fun fact, a little nugget of knowledge. That's a good phrase. I think we should do this. I think this is going to become a running thing. Each predictions or race report or both. Did you know Pierre Gasly once drove in Formula E? There's your nugget of knowledge.
Did he?
For this week. Yes, he did.
When?
I actually can't remember when Pierre Gasly, but I know he drove in Formula E. I'll just Google
before
that.
F1.
Probably. Dylan, keep talking while I Google this. Anyway, will there be a safety car is the final thing we've got to predict.
I don't
think there will. Due to the Spanish GP, as I've said a couple of times already, being quite boring. So, no, I don't think we will get a safety car this weekend. He drove...
He drove in the 2016/17 season.
Yeah.
For Dams?
Yeah. Dams. Yes, okay. There's your nugget of knowledge and the time. Anyway, I think it's time to end this week's episode of the Pit Crew podcast. I hope you have enjoyed listening to our predictions for the Spanish Grand Prix, no matter how bad they may turn out to be. We will see you early next week for our race report on this weekend's Grand Prix. But in the meantime, I've been Ed.
No, I've been Dylan.
Goodbye.